Now I'm going to look for Touhou MLP crossovers. I bet there are.
Because I know it exists, goddammit, it has
Yes,
to.
there are
Just
tons.
Just by how completely just insane both these fan bases are, it had to mix at some point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, all the bronies needed to do to make a million MLP Portal crossovers was for Gabe Newell to say he liked the show. So yes.
Oh, that'd take long. There it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at the same. I'm looking at.
I love this one. It's just like My Little Pony and Touhou. Same thing.
Oh look, this is Rarity dressed like a character I don't know. On my page, the very second image it is shown is the Rarity in a cosplayer of a character I don't know. It's probably the vampire girl.
Which is it? I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, it's the vampire.
Okay, and yeah, hey, that's good. That's nice. Nice artwork and everything. Okay, wanna see other ponies crossovers? Or maybe other Touhou crossovers?
Let's see, well, basically, the Touhou crossovers are so out of control that there actually is an internet rule for it.
Oh.
Internet rule 9-ball.
That's funny, because there's an internet rule even for ponified memes. Apparently, yeah.
So, I mean, that's...
Oh, look at this, this.
Is.
And now I see this image in which they are suggesting a My Little Pony versus Touhou. Yeah, I would pay to see that. I'd love to see Rainbow Dash versus that freaking witch with the, witch, I don't remember the name.
Marissa.
Fighting in midair. One with tornadoes, the other with magic. That'd be
crazy. But yeah, the one that I brought up was just like My Little Pony and Touhou. It gives basically a list of how they're the same thing. Like Hitting Magic Land, entirely female main cast, almost entirely female supporting cast. Magic use constantly, even for mundane tasks. Ability to fly is incredibly common. Yesterday's dangerous opponent, today's tea party guest. Huge internet following, creators incorporate their jokes. Lesbian subtext and fanwork sometimes gets terrifying.
Wow, Ross, you could have summarized either fandoms with what you just said. You basically described both fandoms at the same time. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, you made the comment that My Little Pony and Touhou are not very different.
Yeah, in fact, they are far more similar than I would have surmised. The only thing that's keeping them apart is the fact that My Little Pony is owned by an actual corporation.
Exactly. Although, again, if you were to follow me down the rabbit hole, you might find something that you like here.
You know, that could go the other way around too.
It's possible, but I looked at some My Little Pony stuff. It's just I didn't dig it.
Well, it did take me like four. Well, here's the thing. The first episode, I loved it to bits. It established well the characters on the world. It was a lot of fun. I love cartoons to begin with. The second episode was really weak. It was like a Sailor Moon-esque escapade that I didn't really like. But then, and then there were all the other episodes, and then slowly, I really got me. So it was weird, really. Really liking the first episode, not liking the second, which were both part of the same pilot. It's weird, but yeah, it's.
Well, with Touhou, it's one of those things that you don't discover Touhou. Someone kind of
Touhou discovers you.
The culture. It's just like you kind of have to have a guide, or else you're going to be so intimidated by by the fandom that you're going to just like kind of abort.
You know, maybe that's another fundamental difference between the two fandoms: the level of accessibility. I think
games themselves are incredibly accessible. I mean, they're just overhead shooters. You don't need to
okay.
No, I mean, just pick one up.
Yeah, it's difficult because of how many games and everything. You don't know where to begin and where does it start.
It doesn't matter. You can begin with quite literally any game. There's a canon, but it's a shooter game. The story doesn't really matter. You're just there to shoot stuff.
Okay. But you see, when I actually decided to become a fan of this show, I fell in love with the characters and the overarching story. So really, if Touhou doesn't really focus on story and basically the characters are all fan-made, the characters are basically all the product of fanons rather than canons, are they?
Well, yes and no.
I mean, you can kind of guess the personality they could have from an aesthetic standpoint, but wasn't the fans actually who gave them personality to begin with?
Yes and no. It depends on the.
That's funny because that's the same. That's funny because that's basically the same thing that happened with, well, all the background characters from My Little Pony. They were presented to us from aesthetically. And over time there was born some sort of a giant fan-generated consensus about this background character should act and what kind of personality she or he had and all that. So there was Derpy Hooves, there was Dr. Hooves, there was Vinyl Scratch, there was Octavian. Again, these fandoms are creepily, eerily similar to one another.
They are pretty similar, I will give you that. Just so for peace of mind, I'm going to be sending you one of the Touhou games to experience.
Okay, you know what? If I can play it on my computer, I will gladly play it.
Because keep in mind that these are all doujin games, so it's acquiring them online isn't really hurting anyone, especially when they're only actually sold at conventions and usually only one shot. So I will give you what I feel is probably the easiest game to start with.
I have to say, this is quite an enlightening experience.
Like, the meme list is massive. You have no idea. Basically, just on TV tropes, if you just wanted to look up Touhou memes, they'll basically say that this is probably the largest meme center among everything that they have.
Whoa. Whoa, and what's the second?
Oh god, I don't know.
maybe it's MLP, imagine that.
MLP could be, but it's just, unlike MLP, you have this franchise that's been really running, at least in fan consciousness, since about 2003, so...
Oh, so it had almost...
years on My Little Pony.
It had exactly a decade to flourish, so... Okay, imagine what the MLP fandom will be like in 5 years or 8 years from now.
But here's the thing. Who's to say that it's going to keep going that long? That's the problem with it, because it's very easy that if, like, Hasbro could just pull the plug on it for any reason at any time and the show just ceases to exist. Of course, you're going to have the fandom, supporting it maybe for 2-3 years, but eventually with no new content, that's going to drop off.
Well, they could do that, but since it's their most successful TV show, that doesn't sound fair.
It's going to happen, but I'm saying at some point...
at some point the show will have to end. That's right. But you know what happens after the show ends?
Spin-offs.
No, next generation building up from the previous one. So yes, and then there are the comics too.
But you also have to keep this in mind. They probably won't use the same creator at that point. Remember Transformers?
Actually, Lauren Faust, who created the show, was around only for the first season. Now we are season 4, so it's really not. So it's really not the problem. It's really not a problem. Of course, Lauren Faust was like was a goddess on Earth for everyone. Still a goddess on Earth for everyone, even though she's not around for this show ever since 2011. But yeah, because she had the vision, and the vision was carried through with a team of really talented writers and animators, and the show gets progressively better in some things to some level or the other each and every season. And of course the fandom gets worse each and every year, because with all the drama, no, I'm abandoning the fandom because this is not what should happen to this character and whatnot, and no, you gave Twilight wings.
Yeah, at least with Touhou, basically you can pull whatever type of chicken shit you want on the fans and they'll be like, huh. I mean, come on, they've already jumped the shark twice. First of all, they introduced a nuclear Hellraven. It's a Yatagasarage something. It's the Raven from Hell with 3 legs.
Okay, that sounds about like the least
Japanese creature.
The least that original.
But basically, they gave it a nuclear reactor inside of her.
A nuclear reactor, you say?
So yeah, there's actually nukes in Gensokyo.
Okay, that's great.
And then the game after they do that, UFOs. So I mean, basically, like they've already jumped the shark and survived.
Okay, but I think this show is immune to shark jumping, given its unique nature. This franchise, I mean.
Yeah, I'm just saying you didn't have fans really bitching about it, because one of the interesting things is that aside from like the fighting games or something, you'll rarely see characters return except for like being playable characters in the shooters. In one game, the pink-haired one returns as a first-level boss, and that's it. So it's not like they don't throw the characters around enough in the game that the fans feel that they ruined them, essentially.
Okay, I'm pretending to following everything you're saying right now because I'm polite.
Okay, so you have no idea.
I am nodding and nodding. Anyway, this is quite cool looking. Okay, I'm sending you this artwork that you might appreciate.
Oh my.
It's quite good. I don't send you bad artwork for the sake of a trolling joke.
Okay, so just wow. I can't handle this.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing, believe me, in that regard. With pony crossovers,
So to try to describe this, it's Reimu from Touhou riding, I believe, Twilight Sparkle.
Twilight Sparkle, yes.
Actually stabbing one of the Attack on Titans.
Yeah.
No, it's not stabbing. No, she's actually summoning her giant yin-yang ball and crushing the skull of one of the Attack on Titan titans.
That sounds like the coolest thing possible imaginable. The only coolest thing if they had a robot from Pacific Rim in it, just for kicks.
It's just like, wow.
Yeah, and before you say anything, yes, there are already MLP/Pacific Rim artworks around. Of course there are. Why wouldn't...
Basically, both My Little Pony and Touhou had this thing that they want to assimilate everything.
And they did. You shall be assimilated.
They're both like different Borgs.
Resistance is futile.
So, to that point,
There is another one.
I was just reading a Touhou Battle Royale.
Oh no. Oh, no. You know...
It was played up for laughs.
Okay, I can see that, but I really hate it when they do fanfiction in which they have characters there just to die horribly. It's really it's lazy and...
It was played up for just complete laughs, so everything was just played comically.
Because there is a fanfiction that crosses over My Little Pony with Celebrity Deathmatch, of all things.
Really? People still remember that existed?
Yeah, I do remember. Even I remember it existed. In fact...
I remember it exists, but no one talks about it anymore. It was just some people watched what was on, and then as soon as it went off the air, they're like, huh.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what? The same thing is going to happen to Robot Chicken.
Pretty much.
Okay, I sent you this other artwork, which is pretty neat. It's again Twilight Sparkle with done in the style of a Touhou character.
This one is based off of Patchouli. Yes, there was a character named Patchouli Knowledge.
There is a character name. There is an actual character in Touhou with a pony name. Yeah,
yes.
Patchouli Knowledge does sound like a pony name, doesn't it?
Sounds like a pony name, but basically her entire deal is she's the exact opposite of Marissa. So she is a Western Eastern style magician.
I just noticed something, Ross.
Yes?
You're a huge Touhou geek, aren't you?
Well, I basically immersed myself into this fandom for this retrospective.
You know, Ross...
I had to be knowledgeable.
You know, Ross, I feel very close to you right now. You with your...
I was kind of a casual friend. I had a friend that introduced me to it, and I started playing the games, and games were pretty fun. And, some of the characters were interesting, but it was, not until I started putting together this retrospective that I, had to completely immerse myself in all things Touhou, just to kind of... I don't feel I'd be doing it justice if I weren't. So basically, you had everything. Going on a lightning speed for you when you were incepted into the fandom. As for me, it was a gradual thing. I liked at first. I've known about Touhou for about 5-6 years. Yeah, but you resisted the influence up until this point. Yeah, basically, I just played the games because they occasionally like shooters. That's basically as far as it went. Okay, and I like the music to it. I'm actually been a fan of My Little Pony since 2011, which was only at the very end of the first season, mind you. And it was a gradual thing for me. At first, oh look, I discovered this new cartoon that happened to be based off a toy line for girls that I don't dislike at all. I mean, this opening is kind of discouraging, but if I can get past that, I find something that I really like from both a visual standpoint and from a comedic standpoint. Yes, it's fun. I like this cartoon. With this one, with Touhou, it's something I had kind of wanted to do as a just cover video-wise for some time now. It was just such a massive entity that I knew I was going to have to do it as a complete retrospective thing, and it was just one of those things that it was going to be so much effort, I didn't get to it before now. Even after I finished the Soul Calibur one last year, I knew, even before I finished that I was doing Touhou this year. I have been working on this retrospective since the middle of January. Huh. Just immersing myself in it, playing all the games, gathering footage from everything, reading doujin, watching videos, just trying to get a list of the most popular things to talk about.
So basically you became the me version for Touhou, because that you just described me with pony related media. I read from okay. At first it was just a cartoon. Then I discovered these brony creatures that I never heard of before, and I thought, this is the silliest name for a fandom I've ever heard in my life. To this very day, I refuse to acknowledge myself as a brony because I can't get over how silly the name sounds. But other than that, I'm a super huge, mega super nerd of the show, to the point that I read fan fictions whenever I can. I watch beautifully made fan animations and PMVs on YouTube, which more or less literally took over the entire site, and I think
basically, so
I know that.
Touhou did that to Nico Duga. In fact, I'll bring up the typical Touhou music video just so you have an idea of the type of insanity I've had to wade through, and it's like. The songs in them are the type of thing that you don't like the first time that you watched it. Then it's like you find it stuck in your head for days on end, and you're like, crap.
Okay, that's great. And in exchange, I'll show you one of the best looking PMVs, because that's the term anyway. You know, there was AMVs once. Now there are pony music videos, PMVs.
I'm not surprised. I'm
terrified,
but not surprised.
Actually, you will be impressed by the quality of the animation. You'll think it's you might even think it's actually better.
I have never ever been terribly impressed with just My Little Pony in general, just because it's done in Flash and you can obviously tell it's done in Flash. I mean, it works for the show, don't get me wrong, but it's not visually impressive in any way.
Well, it became visually impressive later on. I mean, there are certain scenes like only recently these fighting scenes between Celestia and Luna in a flashback that looks like something out of almost like of Dragon Ball Z, except it's with the unique aesthetic of the flash animation during night and the lighting from the moon. And there's a big sense of lighting and shades, and it really works. You know, this seems something out of a Vocaloid music video.
Yeah, it makes sense because of how big Vocaloid is there, and then the vocals sound very Vocaloid-ish, but I don't think it was actually made using the program.
That's nice, and just like a Vocaloid music video, I don't get anything that's going on at any given time.
Exactly.
Okay, so instead, in exchange,
I've had to watch.
I'm going to show you what's considered the best pony video of 2013 by the community.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
It's okay. You might not like the music at play, but you'll have to admit the animation is pretty neat, especially for fan-made flash animation. In fact, it's quite impressive, almost at the quality of the show nowadays. I can appreciate actually the length in which flash animation has evolved during the years, and how high-budget flash animation looks nowadays. That palette and the colors and the shading and whatever. But I can appreciate animation in all its subtle styles and differences and everything. Okay, here's the link. Take it a look whenever you want, even now, in front of me.
Okay,
While
I loaded the video.
Oh, you might want to watch it at a higher resolution. It begins with a narration, actually.
Yes, I'm seeing that.
Still remember it like it was yesterday, though it was countless
The only downside is after viewing this, I imagine they're going to start spamming movies into my YouTube feed, and I'm going to hate you from that moment.
Well, Ross, you could delete this video from your history if you're that afraid of such silly things. You know, there is that.
For being done in Flash, it is pretty good looking.
Yeah, and season 4 actually looks better than this. Or even the last episode of season 3, which was really where the quality of the budget and the animators really shone at the time, and because it was an important event. You know, Twilight Sparkle ascension into godhood, basically.
Yes, I know exactly. I know of it, despite the fact I don't care.
Okay, I know, I understand. I know a lot of things I don't care too, just because, you know, it's relevant for something or the other. Maybe if you're making maybe you're discussing something casual with a friend and you make a joke about something you don't care just for the sake of it, and you can tell, yeah, I know about that because I'm informed. I like to make jokes about it because, yeah, casual conversation. I'm rambling right now.
I don't know, I guess it's for a Western cartoon. I just kind of dislike the Made in Flash look. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of snobbish, maybe I'm so used to watching anime.
Well, actually, the thing is, I'm kind of the opposite of you, because even though the animation for anime, most anime is good, the aesthetic is always the same, basically, and that's what really gets me. It's not one thing can be incredibly well animated like K-On!, but that doesn't change the fact that all the characters look like freaking Moe dolls. And really, it's the difference between.
Boring things I ever tried.
Yeah, so I'm using an easy accessible example of really good animation applied to really stale and uncreative and uninteresting aesthetics. It's the difference between aesthetics and animation. It's like the difference.
I have to say, I have to admit, the lighting effects on this are actually pretty good.
They made me gawk in awe. Well, I have to say. Of course, you could interpret this video in two ways. Either Luna is saving the children for the orphans from their miserable lives, or she's actually kidnapping foals to trap them in the moon. So it's
She seems more like a villain to me. She seems like one of those looking enchantress trying to steal all the children away.
Well, she could either be the famous flautist that kidnapped all those children, or maybe, but a more interesting view of the character is that she's basically Peter Pan.
That could work too.
That could work too. Either way, yeah. The meaning of the subtle meaning of the video itself can be debated, but the animation, the surface, the animation is undeniably good in that regard.
Definitely, I will give it that. It seems like it's pushing what Flash can do right now.
Absolutely. That.
But it still doesn't compare to something that's hand drawn all the way through.
Well, of course, that's because hand-drawn animation takes longer to do, much longer.
That's true. So one thing that basically any Touhou fan will admit is that the creator Zune cannot draw to save his life.
Oh.
So basically, so it's just fun to see the characters actually competently drawn. Let me actually bring up an image as an example.
Oh, please do. You know, speaking of Attack on Titan, the original manga isn't really all that well drawn, but the anime actually, from an aesthetic standpoint, really stands out. Not just from an animation standpoint, but from an aesthetic standpoint. You know, how the characters are outlined, or the color palette. That's a look that not only well animated, that really feels like something different to look at from other anime. that's one of the reasons why Attack on Titan really stands out. The other many other reasons is it's because it's totally undeniably awesome. But it should be
with one of the more competently drawn Zune pieces.
Oh, okay. Now I'm curious. Let's see.
And one of the better looking ones. I'm trying to see if I can find one of the. Give me a moment. Trying to see if I can find one of the more derpy ones.
She draws derpy hoops too?
Let's see.
So this is the character. Well, it's not really all that bad. In fact, it's kind. You know what? I actually liked it. You know what? Because this looks
amateurish feel to it.
Other than the amateurish feel, it definitely feels like something subtly different from your regular manga drawn character.
So here's an example of just an array of images that he drew for the same character, so this might illustrate it better.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Now I can see what you mean. Yeah. So he doesn't draw consistently, at all. Like he doesn't draw consistently at all. In fact, you cannot draw the same character looking the same to save your life. I mean, especially the ones in the middle. That's really hideous to look at. Yeah, I can see that.
Let's see. Here's one. I think I found one that will illustrate my point even better.
Okay.
So this is a larger collection of images from him from the games. It's from a site called LOL Salad.
LOL Salad. Really?
Yes. That's where I found it. So whatever.
Fascinating.
Okay, so.
Okay. This be the last one.
Okay, so this is. Yeah.
Okay.
Some characters look decent. Some characters feel like, oh my god.
Yeah, and they all look the same with different hair.
And hats. Like, the thing is, like, every Touhou character has some kind of odd hairpiece on her.
Okay, apparently there is a unicorn human girl here. I think she's being Equestria Girls. Okay. That's quite something, I see. Well, you know what? That gives hope to all of us. If someone so untalented can create something so epically popular, then there's hope for everyone in this world.
He can't draw, but he can compose music.
Okay, that's something
that you can give to him.
Ross, you know what? The next time we get together, we must do a dramatic reading of a Touhou/MLP fanfiction.
Why don't we get a Touhou/MLP doujin manga? I'm sure it exists.
That would be even better.
But
in fact, I'm going.
It would take me long to dig one out.
I'm searching for it right now. Touhou MLP gender bend? No.
No.
Oh, my.
Else in perspective. Touhou is so big that Touhou has several of its own conventions in Japan. Several different ones.
Well, that's funny because My Little Pony has like 10 conventions a year only in the USA. There are also conventions in Europe and Asia. So yeah, another thing they have in common apparently. That's it's getting creepier and creepier by the second, these similarities.
Yeah, they are very similar fandoms. Again, one thing that My Little Pony really doesn't have behind it is the huge, music remixing community.
Are you kidding me, Ross? Are you kidding me? You really don't know?
No,
You really don't know all the hundreds and hundreds of brony musicians who not only remixed classic musical pieces of actual songs in the show, but they actually went on to invent all new soundtracks and styles of music in with different genres and different styles and flavors. Like, there are literally hundreds of music, brony music, just on YouTube. Hundreds, I tell ya. And now you know. In fact, I'm tempted to make you feel.
Half the battle, and no, you don't have to show me. I believe you.
Okay.
So I guess I'll regale you with more Touhou music.
And then I'll hit you with more MLP music.
I'm going to show you probably my favorite Touhou song. Well, one of my favorites.
Necrophantasia. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds pretty hardcore. Is this fan-made music or was from the original album? Ah, okay.
Another thing I kind of like about the franchise is just the music bit sounds very Eastern, which kind of works considering the setting.
You know, speaking of, hey, would you like? You made me think of something. Would you, you know, some time ago, there in one of the last episodes of MLP of 2013, there was this episode in which Fluttershy became a vampire bat. And if you're, she actually became a vampire bat, and it was kind of spectacular. But of course, not even 12 hours after that episode, somebody already posted a freaking theme song for Fluttershy. Because,
Wow,
yeah.
That's impressive.
That happens all the time with that, and the best part of it's actually a quite cool theme with a very recognizable Castlevania feel to it. Okay, so I just found a remix of the classic, of the original Flutterbat boss theme that I wanted to show you but couldn't find at the moment. I had somewhere, but just looking for it is kind of a pain. Instead, I'm going to try and show you the remix and hoping it's just as good as.
Well, quickly watch the remix so you can find out if it's just as good. Wow, there's a lot of fat to trim on this podcast.
There's a lot of.
Because basically it devolved into us just sitting here watching videos.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of just that, in fact. Which is, it's the exact thing I had done with another guy, Matti Mali from Scandinavia. I just ramble incoherently for an hour with him while watching TV or watching cartoon openings in Finnish on YouTube. Give it a watch. Give it a listen, Nancy.
I am.
Okay, this isn't so much as a remix as the guy took the original theme and just, well, fastened it a bit. The original theme is a bit slower than this. That's the only difference.
It does sound pretty Castlevania-esque.
Okay. Okay, I actually used this theme, the Flutterbat boss battle theme, for the end credits of the 2013 Roundup podcast of Team Yume.
Ah, okay.
So it's actually up there, and you can watch it anytime in your Blip channel.
Gotcha. So I haven't actually been doing much in the way of video production just because I've been so freaking swamped with this Touhou retrospective. Like, it was getting to the point that there's no way I could get the prep work done by the beginning of March without just dropping everything else I was doing. It's like, right now, all I have to do as far as just research is I have to finish reading a couple doujin manga, and I have find a list of remix songs I want to turn into a playlist. And that's going to take me like an entire day, probably. And after that, I still have a bunch of scripting to do. Out of the 20 or so scripts I have to write, I'm on script 15.
20.
This entire thing is probably going to be something in the area of 22 episodes long.
Ah. Well, that's... okay. It seems you got your work cut out for you.
Definitely. I mean, okay, just try to imagine you were trying to do a retrospective on everything My Little Pony, trying to get all the most popular things involved with it.
Yeah, that's suicide.
That's exactly why I'm taking on, essentially.
Well, congratulations, you fool. You couldn't do something simple, I don't know, like reviewing every single episode of Star Trek. No, you had to do something like the Touhou retrospective, because you're crazy like that.
Apparently I am.
Okay.
What's worse is I actually had it. I had it worse for myself. I literally had like 12 fan games I wanted to do, and I could only get 5 of them to actually run.
You know,
of course, I found that there was a ton of mobile fan games on like Android, so I had to download all of them.
Oh boy. So this has been an interesting experience I won't forget anytime soon, thanks to you, Ross.
That's right. I will convert you to the Touhou masses.
Yes, and I will convert you to the MLP masses, which are almost kind of the same thing by this point. So I think we are halfway there from both parts. Okay, so before Princess Twilight Vampire comes down with with her friend Japanese Fluttershy dressed as a lolly, we should conclude this podcast right now.
Yes.
The two things are mixing up together. I'm going cross-eyed. I'm going derpy. So this has been Madhog. Yes, this has been whatever you just said. This has been Madhog, thy master of confusion.
And this has been Ross, an absolutely insane person that decided to do a Touhou retrospective.
Rosu-chan, ganbatte!
I need it.
Ganbatte, Rosu-chan! And with that bit of insanity, we shall end this right now. Goodbye. Right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Konnichiwa. Or perhaps I should say sayonara. Shadow the Hedgehog.
No.
Yes, I said that. I referenced that.